we're really looking forward to an upcoming program as part of our Living History series that's celebrating our 215th birthday this year. And this is a concert that's focusing on the founding father of the Marine Chamber Orchestra, William H. Santelmann. He was born in Germany, Hanover, Germany, in 1863, and showed his skills as a musician early on, studying the violin and then a little later the clarinet. And it was when he came of age, he began his studies at the Leipzig Conservatory. Well, upon finishing his studies at Leipzig, he moved to the United States and was able to secure work with an orchestra outside of Philadelphia. But not long, it wasn't long when he was in the United States that he had heard of the Marine Band and decided to audition for then-director, 17th director of the Marine Band, John Philip Sousa. So in 1887, William H. Santelmann auditioned for John Philip Sousa on violin, clarinet, and baritone. A practice that we no longer continue today, but quite interesting nonetheless. He was accepted on all three instruments and started working for the Marine Band in 1887. He would stay for 8 years and branch off on his own in 1895 to start his own career, much like John Philip Sousa, as a conductor. And he stayed in the Washington, D.C. area and was hired as music director with Washington's Columbia Theater. When the position of leader of the Marine Band became available in 1898, William H. Santelmann was obviously selected for that position. And upon taking command of the band, he implemented two significant changes. The first being in 1899, when President McKinley signed an act of Congress to essentially double the size of the band. And they added a second leader. So essentially there was a first leader of the band, a second leader. They had 30 first-class musicians and also 30 second-class musicians. And this also meant an increase in pay for the musicians at that time. But more significantly and more pertinent to our program is that Santelmann decided to form a full-scale symphony orchestra. And what this meant was that he required all incoming new members joining the band to be able to double, not play a wind instrument, but double also on a stringed instrument. And furthermore, he required junior members that were already here, if they had been here for 10 years or less, they would also be required to learn and be proficient on a stringed instrument. So by doing so, he was able to form a full scale orchestra and play all the larger symphonic works. The program that we'll be performing on March 3rd is selections that I really had taken out of his year of programs from 100 years ago. So back in 1913, I combed through all the programs that the orchestra performed and decided to kind of put together something similar to his format of programming. And that would contain just a potpourri of selections, a waltz, a march. We're featuring his own march that he composed, the Thomas Jefferson March. We're going to have a waltz. He would maybe do 2 waltzes on his programs, but he would also feature guest soloists or his own soloist from within the ensemble. And so we're going to feature our own violinist, our section commander of the strings, Master Gunny Peter Wilson, and also our principal cellist, Master Gunny Marcio Botello, through the program. Another interesting selection is the Sousa works that he would often feature on his programs, and so I'm doing somewhat of a Sousa suite, also the 17th director, and featuring some of his works. And I'm going to close the program with Peer Gynt Suite by Edvard Grieg, and I chose that in particular because he was a student at Leipzig Conservatory as well, and I thought that was an interesting alumni connection for William H. Santelmann. So we're really looking forward to highlighting this important part of our history and the origins of the Marine Chamber Orchestra.